Right, the Victorian Hall of Fame entries are open right now. I'm going to catch up with, well, one of the inductees, firstly, Jimmy O'Sullivan. Hello.
Hello, Paul. How you doing?
Very good, mate. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful winter's day. Well, you wouldn't want to live anywhere else than central Victoria in winter?
No, I talked to a few of my mates in Queensland recently and they were telling me how good it is up there, but I said it's not much better than here, for sure.
No, absolutely. July 17, entries close. They're currently open right now. You can go to thetrots.com.au and then follow the links through to the Hall of Fame, and you can actually select a horse. You can put a horse in and you can actually see who isn't there. We want to make people aware of it because it's a very prestigious award or awards that people can actually win. We want people to be aware of it and vote. Don't leave all the work up for you guys on the committee to be able to select someone.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's very important for the game, the history of it. You know, there's some great horses in it and great trainers for years gone by, you know. Normally they got to die before they get in it, you know, but it's a great, when you look through the list, it's just unbelievable, you know.
Well, one of the things for the horses is that they're not racing anymore.
Yeah.
But for the trainers and drivers, no, they can actually still be part of it. And it's it's all about the contribution. What does it mean to you? Like, what did it mean to you last year? It was a double-edged, well, two for the price of one, I suppose, with yourself being selected, and then one of your favourite horses in blue getting selected as well, My Lightning Blue.
Yeah, well, Blue deserved it. He'd been a great horse and well, he's a world record holder and he just was a good horse from 2 till when he retired, you know. So he was just a great horse and he raced some great ones in the past, you know. But myself, it was a surprise for myself. I've been in it a long time and just to be in alongside some of the guys that are in it, it's just amazing. Like I raced against most of them. And like some of them drove for me, you know, and won races for me, you know. So it was just a great thrill. Yeah.
Yourself, I think Lance Justice also got inducted last year, and of course this year he was a Gordon Rutherford medalist. Both of you guys are that. It's probably something when you're Sean's age and Shannon's age, you're not setting off, I suppose, trying to be inducted into it. But as you get into the twilight, if you like, of your career, it must mean a bit.
Well, it does. I mean, when you're early, you just go round. You go round and round and round like in circles, and but you sort of in your mind, it would be great if you could get there, but you just don't think about it, you know. And then eventually things start to get better and better, and then you're in it, you know. So it was really good.
How good was Blue?
He was a great horse. He was a great trier. You know, he won the Australian Derby as a 3-year-old. And he won a Globe Derby Model Harold Park, and he won the 4-year-old championship, and he won several cups, and then he won the Inter-Dominion, and then he won the New Zealand Cup, you know. So when he won the Inter-Dominion, he broke a world record for the distance. And I think when he won the New Zealand Cup, it was the fastest New Zealand Cup ever, you know, and it had been run for 100 years. So it was a great thrill, you know, for him. I'd seen some great horses win it, like Cardigan Bay, Lordship. Well, you know, just you name them, you know, and it just was a great thrill, you know. And I think he was the first Australian horse in 30 years or something like that to win it. Not many had went over there, but there was some good ones over. Pro Chevalier, Gamelite, and Marcavina, them horses went over and they couldn't win it. So it was a good achievement for him.
Yeah, it is, and it's quite interesting because the New Zealand Cup is so hard for Australian horses to win. I think Swayze won it last year, and Arden Rooney had also done it as well. I'm going to miss, I think there's one other one, but I'll get into trouble, but that's okay.
Steel Jaw won it.
Steel Jaw, exactly, yeah. And you see those horses win the New Zealand Cup, but with Blue, you actually had to win the Inter-Dominion over there as well, like you were in foreign territory, if you like, over there for that. So he must have, like, as a stallion, he just must have been such an amazing and adaptable sort of horse.
Yeah, he was a great traveller. Nothing fazed him at all, you know. And when he won the Inter-Dominion, it was, if anyone ever seen the replay, it was just a fantastic effort. Like he drew barrier 16, he was last, and he was 3 wide for the last mile, got pushed forward with a lap to go, and went round and sat parked the rest of the way and won and broke a world record. You know, it was just a fantastic effort. But he was outsider for that, of course. But then when he went across for the New Zealand Cup, he was favourite. So it was a little bit different atmosphere then, you know, because it was a shock when he won and not to everybody, but to the officials and that, it was a shock. But when he won the New Zealand Cup, he was favourite, and it was just, they just adored him over there.
Was he an emergency to get into that Dominion? Did he get in as he was an emergency?
Yes, he was. Well, Vinnie Knight's horse was favourite, of course, for it, and he'd won a couple of heats, and he was never going to get in the final, but we knew we were going to get a run because he staggered off the track his last heat, and they just couldn't get him together for the final, you know. But given the credit for Vinnie, like when we had a hell of a party after it, when we some of the scribes like Bill Hutchison and them, they left the hotel to get on the plane to come home in the morning, and that's how long it went. But Vinnie was there. He was the first one there and the last one to leave, and some people would have been home crying and that they didn't get a run in it, you know. But he was there to celebrate with us. It was a great for that, you know.
And then from your own point of view, you also won the consolation that year with another beautiful horse for you over the journey, and I reckon still one of the best presented horses ever, and quite famous with a big flowing mane that he had. It almost fitted your hair back at the same time. But I think that was the first time that had ever been done, that someone had won both the final and the consolation at the same time.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been done since, you know, so it was a great thrill to do that. He was odds-on favourite to win the consolation because he was a little bit unlucky in the heats, and he come through them very, very well, and he bolted the consolation in, you know. But we were hoping for a double, but I mean, it was just it happened, you know. But he was odds on to win the consolation, you know. But it's the only time anyone's done it, you know. And I only took the two horses over there, and we went from. He was favourite. Blue was one of the favourites leading up to it, into Dominion, and of course everything went pear-shaped, and we went from chocolates to boiled lollies, and then of course on the final night we got the lot, so it was good, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You also won the trot, didn't you? I'm trying to think of the horse's name. I know you Yankee Lock. You beat True Roman in Melbourne, I think, from memory. Yeah, I think that was. So, I mean, you well and truly deserve your spot in there. The beauty of the reason I was asking those questions, there'd be so many people that you would know around that time, and horses that you would have, you know, raced against and seen that, you know, haven't been inducted, that the well and truly, deserved recipients.
Oh yes, for sure. Like I raced against all the greats and beat them occasionally, you know. But there was just some great trainers and great drivers, and you know, and a lot of them used to stay with me when they come over for the big races here, and I got to know them very, very well, and that's how I got the drive on Yankee Lock. Jack Carmichael came over and stayed, and he said, you might as well drive it. He was retired, forced retirement, and so that was a catch drive, and he won the two heats in the final. But I got to meet all those guys. Like Anthony Butt was a youngster then, and he came over with Blossom Lady, stayed with me, and Derek Jones, and the list goes on. Like the Butts, there were some other Butts, Lacano, Duty Townley. You know, Hanno Direct and them horses. But they were great guys, you know, and a lot of them are inducted in the Hall of Fame in New Zealand and around Australia, you know. And
we want the Victorians to be, you know, acknowledged for what they do here in Victoria as well, don't we?
Yes, for sure. You know, there's some great traders, and actually the young drivers coming through, I think, all over Australia, like in Victoria especially, the young drivers are exceptional to what they used to be. You know, there's some great drivers. You got James Herbison, like he's only junior, just out of his junior, and he's the leading driver. You know, and but all over the country, the junior drivers in Sydney, like they just run rampant in the premierships. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, as being part of the committee, I suppose the toughest choice you've got, and we mentioned some of those horse names and people and even administrators, and we've got to make sure people are aware of that an administrator can be anyone from someone who's clubland, if you like, right through to media personality. There is so many things. As I said, go to the Hall of Fame link and I'll put it in this the messaging underneath, but go down there and click on that. But, like the horses can't be competing at the minute. I think last year there was an inundation of Just Believe, and his time will come. There's no worries. Sure. There's no worries there at all. But for, as you just said, then trainers and drivers, they can be, administrators they can actually still be active in the game now, and it just means so much. It would mean so much to a lot of these people, that little bit of recognition, wouldn't it?
Oh, for sure. And it's not only the single out the drivers. I mean, there's a family involvement. I think the Shins were inducted, with the whole family. But one that comes to mind for me, I was amazed that he hasn't been, is Johnny Caldo. Like Johnny Caldo's won about 4,000 races, and he's been everywhere, you know. But then you had his dad, Jack, and you had his brother, Peter, who was a great driver and was tragically killed. But there's a whole family there, you know. So it's not only the one person can be inducted. I mean, if the people think it's like a family involvement, and the whole family can be involved, you know.
To about Peter Kelder, they say he was better than Gavin, and even Gavin would say that they're the best of mates, and he'd even say that. So I mean, you know, a lot of people wouldn't know that story, and I mean, you know, I love telling stories. I love finding stories out, and this is one of those things about the night when it actually happens. I think it's going to happen in mid-August, but right at the minute they're calling for selections. But there are so many stories and so many tales that come out afterwards.
For sure, you know. Well, Peter Caldo, like I said, was what I mentioned him, but I can remember that probably the week after he died, well, a few days, it might have been only a few days, a bloke rang me and said, "Can you drive me a horse at Moonee Valley?" And I said, "Oh, well, what's happened?" He said, "Oh, Peter was supposed to drive it, and he got killed a couple of days before. Anyhow, as luck has it, he won." You know, which was a great tribute to him at the time, you know, because it was pretty emotional at the time to win it, because I knew Peter well, raced against him, you know, it was pretty emotional.
Yeah, and different times back then. I mean, it wasn't like now you could ring people up and just get them. I think Pete was a pretty hard worker from what I was told. He was always on the road and always having a crack. So, yeah, as you said, so that's another one just to put into people's minds.
Yes, that's for sure, you know. But there's so many great trainers and drivers from the past, like, you know, you forget about them till a lot. Well, I was actually looking at a tape the other day of a 2-year-old race at Moonee Valley. It was I think it was not the Tatlow, it was some big race, you know, and I was in it, and I've looked through the drivers and they're all not with us anymore. You know, there was Vinnie Knight, there was Gavin Lang, Graham Lang, Graham Wilson, Gordon Rothicker, they were all in it, and I thought, God, where they've all gone, you know. But all them guys, most of them guys are in the Hall of Fame, yeah, because of the contribution to it, you know. Gav was just something else, like, you know, he drove a couple of times for me. He drove Blue, actually, as a 2-year-old and won, and he had another drive and didn't drive it quite so well, but he was a great driver, you know, but he was well deserved in that, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Jimmy, thank you. July 17, they close. Go in there, fill out the forms, your name. Just read the criteria properly. As I said, it's a little bit too much of one horse last year. We want to make sure that people think about it. Horses that have contributed to the game in such positive ways, and there's a lot of names we could rattle off with the Victorian component of it. Yourself, the committee will sit down then and work your way through it. It's actually, sorry, one you did say there was a Newbounds, like it was a Newbound family as well, so you can actually think that little bit left of field.
Yeah, for sure, you know. Well, see, one slipped under the guard of everybody, and it was amazing. It was last year, the year before, I think, was Scotch Notch.
Yeah,
wasn't inducted, and everyone said they just naturally assumed that she was, you know, and of course she was just a sling in, because it was just amazing that she never. But there were so many good horses before her, you know, and it was just amazing. But that's what can happen if you don't sort of sit down and look through them, you know.
Yeah, and be aware of them. And someone might be looking, they might go through and look at, because you can actually see the previous people that have been awarded it and everything like that, and they could say, well, why isn't this horse? Well, here's your chance to actually help out as well. Jim, love talking to you.
Yeah, good.
We could actually sit out and have a long chat. I enjoy remembering the days and things like that. And I'm going to New Zealand tonight, so I'm actually looking forward to it. But hopefully it rekindles a few people over there as well. But and you did go over there and you beat them on their home turf, and you beat them on the home turf 3 times, which is a big effort.
Yeah, well, I think I've raced about 5 horses over there, and they've all won at some stage, you know. But different horses, you know. Apart from Motor Power, I think he went over and won 8 in Dominion, and I got tipped out in the final, you know, and which was unfortunate. You know, he was the only Australian horse in it, and only went about 600 metres and got tipped out. So, but he went over there and won, but I had some really good memories from New Zealand, you know, and people like I remember. Bloke Dickie Prendergast came over with Simon Katz, and he was for the Inter-Dominion here, and Anthony Butt was a young fella. He was his son-in-law. He came over, and Anthony was just a very young fella then, but I'm still great friends with the Prendergast. You know, they ring all the time, and it was just through the horse coming over and he stayed with me for about 5 weeks or 6 weeks, but it's been a lifelong friendship, you know. So that's what happens in the game.
Yeah, it is a great sport. I think we undersell it sometimes. July 17 they close. Go to the trots.com.au, follow the links. I'll have the link put down in the bottom of my comments, so you can click on that on the Facebook or YouTube feeds and you'll be able to go straight to it. Please vote. Makes Jim and Judy and a few of the other people's jobs are really well done. Noel Ridge, great friend of mine, last year was inducted, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. So please don't leave it that it has to be some of the people that are no longer with us, because sometimes being able to celebrate it, hear the great stories on the night too, that people are going to be able to remember and recapture as well for being inducted. So that's one of the cool things about it. But Jimmy, thank you very much, and thank you very much to Harness Racing Victoria for getting us to get out here and I suppose raise a few people's awareness. So thank you very much, mate.
Good. No, thanks, Paul.